We're looking at a late summer garden this time on the garden path. We'll talk about the few flowers I have in bloom and also transplant an iris and dig one for a friend. We'll start with the only annual I have, which is Impatience. And I really like these little guys. I never buy seed. What I do is I dig the cyclamen that's here in the fall, and when I bring that in to bloom in the house in the winter, the seeds from the Impatient that have self-sowed come up, and I save them and replant them the next spring. Back to the perennials with the sedum Autumn Joy, which is just beginning to color, and most people have this in their gardens. It's really nice to have something so dependable that blooms so late in the season, and it's a very, very strong grower. Other late blooming flowers are the heathers, and this one is called Silver Night. It's known more for its silvery foliage than for its pink flowers, which don't show up that much. This little guy, I've forgotten the name of it, but it's much more interesting in bloom than the Silver Night because the pink flowers show up beautifully against the dark foliage. My plan is to put a third one in the middle, probably this fall later on. They transplant well in the fall, and that'll make a band across the front of the garden. Beside me is Coreopsis moonbeam. It's a lovely plant when it's grown in full sun, and I've moved this one out, at least I thought I had, but whatever little bits are left continue to grow. It just doesn't do terribly well in a shady spot. And in amongst the Coreopsis is next spring's buds on the winter heath. Back to Semisofuga black negligee, which is one of my very favorite late blooming flowers. It's tall and it's elegant, and butterflies come to it almost every day, and I just love having it in the garden. It doesn't require a lot of light, seems to be a strong grower, and I recommend it to anyone who has a shady place and needs a tall plant. This is the iris I'm going to dig, and you can see where it bloomed in the summer. This is a piece of licorice stick, and I'm going to dig it, check out the rhizome, and then replant another iris in its place. The roots come off to the sides of the rhizome, and the plant is growing toward the wall, so I'm not going to cut close to the sides. I'm going to dig it from the front. So this is the rhizome, and there's no borer, sign of borer this year. These are the new growths for this year. This was a flower stalk, and that was a flower stalk. So it's a fairly decent piece, and there's some other small pieces that I'll put along with it. Now what I usually do after I've dug these, because sometimes I'm digging several, I trim off the worst of the dead parts, which doesn't hurt them at all, and then I label the plant so that I know what it is. Then you can leave these to dry for up to a week and a half. It doesn't hurt to put them in now, but you can leave them as long as they're not in the sun, as long as they're dry and shaded. You can see some new roots starting now, and this is a little late to be digging. Ideally, I should have dug this in late August or mid-August, but there will be more new roots that come out later than this, so the plant will continue. These old roots will just die off and become rotten if they aren't already. You can see that the soil is quite sandy, which is ideal for iris. I put quite a lot of sand in, and sometimes I put a sand mulch over top of a newly planted iris. I don't have any extra sand right now. And what I've done is made a bit of a ridge in the center. So the new rhizome from the plant I'm going to dig will go on top. So this stays on top and the roots go down the edges, and we'll do that now. The iris that I'm digging now is being crowded by the heather, and it'll just be overcome. So I'm going to put it in the other garden, and until it blooms, I'm not sure what it is. I have labels for some, but not for all. So it too has a fairly good rhizome with no sign of borer, and I obviously cut that one. I didn't see a piece that's still there. I'll have to get it later. So this we'll put where the licorice stick was. The rhizome goes on top, and the roots that it has and that you want to develop go into the little trough alongside. I plant fairly close because I don't have a lot of room. So the sandy soil, you bring it right up and around the plant, firm it in. As I mentioned, you need to have this rhizome on top, but for new plants, winter heaving can be a problem. So frequently, before it gets really cold, I'll put a small rock on the top there to help stabilize it. This is going to be one of our last shows for the garden path. The summer is pretty much winding down, so I hope we'll see you again on a segment for fall colors. But if we don't, it's been a pleasure, and goodbye for now.